start recording. Okay, so this is the Art with Errol podcast. Sorry we're starting over, but this is the Art with Errol podcast. It is Monday, May 5th, 2025, and this is our Monday check-in. So, yes, I've been having like serious internet issues all last week, and it started, I want to say, the prior Thursday or Friday. It seems like I keep getting kicked off line, so this is just our recap. I do this every podcast. I don't know why I've been having such terrible internet issues, y'all. I've been trying to troubleshoot. I thought I sorted it out, but it seems like I'm still getting kicked off of things. I may need a new Wi-Fi router, I guess. Or it could just be my service provider, which sucks. So last week, we got our podcast off. It was good. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday was supposed to be my game streaming days, and I just kept having the disconnection issues, which kept causing issues, and I ended up just deleting those streams that just weren't good. When you're worried about one thing and you're trying to play a game and also be, entertaining for people, right? Because that's what this is, right? It's supposed to be entertaining, y'all. You're supposed to be entertaining, folks. When you are creating content, right? You're supposed to be creative, which I think I've been kicked off of YouTube now. So what is going on? It doesn't show there. It shows me live now. So I'm constantly checking these things. It's saying excellent connection. Now I'm more observant of these issues because it's been happening since last week, and I think it was actually that Thursday prior, not last Thursday, the Thursday prior. So I don't know what else to do. I've rebooted the box that you get from your company, right? The service provider. I have rebooted my router numerous times, but it seems like a lot of connection issues keep happening. So yeah, and then we did our art video on Friday, which was good. So Monday and Friday weren't bad, because I think I got the live stream recorded. The podcast recorded and posted. That was fine. It was just our gaming days, which really was a wash for last week, and that's where we ended off last week with all these issues, right? So this week I was hoping we would start off right, because I thought I had kind of fixed it. I thought by the rebooting and all the stuff it was showing good, but we just got disconnected from YouTube and we got disconnected from X, which sucks. So lucky me, I guess. I got the worst internet. Today I wanted to talk about for content creation, right? I wanted to talk about toxic communication, right? Or toxic community, So we're on content creating. Let's talk about some content creation. A friend of mine who streams, he's a streamer. Well, he's more of acquaintance, right? I don't really talk to him on a regular basis, so I guess he's not a friend. He's more of an acquaintance. But he was going to stop making gaming content. Okay. Consider him a friend online, if that makes sense. But he was being trolled pretty hard, I guess, for his content, and let's talk about what is a toxic communication, right? Manipulation, passive aggression, constant criticism or gaslighting, public shaming, So what was happening to him was, all these comments about, different things, I guess, which will cause problems, not really problems, but, can, just very toxic, and it makes people not want to make comments. Not only not make want to comments, make people not want to make content, and it's sad because a lot of people hide behind anonymity. I think I've talked about this a long time ago. Toxic community on YouTube and these platforms. It sucks because you don't know if it's a bot or if it's just, real trolls, which is a lot of real trolls too. Some of these things I think are bots, though. They're like, I think Joe Rogan talks about it a lot. Russian bots online and stuff, right? They just be out there trying to cause malicious. They're just malicious bots or whatever. But, and I don't know if I'm not quoting him directly. It just, from some of his topics, and they've talked about these types of bots that seem to post, terrible things or whatever. Excuse me, y'all. Let me take a sip of drink here. All right. So toxic communication, toxic communities. I don't really have any personal life, toxic people in my life. I don't. Most of the people I encounter and interact with are really good people, or are worthy of my attention. In the workplace, at home, I don't really have a lot of friends. I don't, because I keep just my family close. My circle is my family. So the very few people that I allow into my circle, they're not toxic people, and I recommend this to everyone. You keep toxic people out of your life. It's harder when you're trying to be a content creator. It's even harder because, like I said, the people online can be really toxic, rude. They can be, just bad, all around bad people. And my thought process behind this is to just block them. Ignore what they say and block them. If they're not coming with positivity, why have that on your channel? You're given the tools on these platforms to either block them or delete the comment or just, ban them from your page. They give you tools, right, to handle this type of stuff. If someone's being, that kind of person, right? Like I always say, if you're going to comment, do it in a respectful way. There's ways of saying you don't like something or like what someone's saying without being disrespectful or coming with a certain type of criticism that's like, really evil or mean or whatever. Like you can say things. It's just people don't like to use proper words or ways to express themselves. You can express yourself in a proper manner, because you got to remember, you're talking in a public forum. These are public, social media is a public forum, right? Would you say that to somebody's face? If you wouldn't say that to somebody's face, then you shouldn't say it online, because it can definitely, people's feelings can be hurt, right? They say words don't hurt, but that's not true. Words can hurt, and certain language can be, if you're threatening, right, can perceive to be a crime, right? You can be perceived as a crime, right? If you're threatening someone's life or anything like that, right, it can be like considered a crime. So, you need to watch what you say, And the people that are doing these type of things to my friend's channel are disgusting people, right? You're missing his perspective on life or his perspective on things, and you're coming in a toxic manner, which is terrible, And to me, the best way to deal with these situations, and everybody has their own way of dealing with it. I'm just giving you my thoughts on the situation. Is to block them or ban them from the page, right? Just have their comments not show up. To me, that's the easiest way to do it. Because more than likely you're not gonna, see these people in real life, and if you do encounter them, they don't really want the business anyway, so because I can tell you right now, you bring it to me, I'm going to give you the business, and it's going to be what it is at that point. I don't play in real life, so if you meet me and you think you bad enough, then we're going to find out for sure. So understand, you can come online and think that you hiding behind this wall, but the moment you show your face in real life and you try someone, you're gonna find out. You know what I mean? Either by my hands or by the law's hands. So it's you don't want to try that. It's crazy to me that the people that hide behind anonymity like this, they're just trolling, man. It's either trolling or they're a bot of some sort, So it's best to just block them and let it go. Forget about it, You lay out your perspective or your thoughts on something, and you give your thoughts about video game content in the way you do. And if people don't like it, they don't like it. Okay. But if the moment they become disrespectful, and that's what we're talking about. Disrespect, The moment they become disrespectful is you wipe them out from your channel, your life. You get them off of there. I don't tolerate the disrespect. Just not going to. I don't have to. Why even think about it? Like in a manner of that, it'll make you quit doing your content. If you're making content and you think it's good content, and you're not being disrespectful to nobody. You're just giving your point of view. Can't let people that have a terrible view on life come in and tear you down and make you not want to do what you do or what you like doing. And that's really, a tough pill for people to swallow is, being able to separate these things and actually shut these people down. Just get them out of there. That's the easiest way to handle it. Get them out of there. If they're being toxic and disrespectful, you get them out of there. You read the comment, you come across it on your page, and they're being that kind of person is not worth having them in your life or having them able to post comments on your page. And yeah, they may try to make other accounts, but you can only make so many accounts before YouTube realize what you're doing, or whatever platform. Let's say you're on Facebook or whatever, you can report them. I think you can report them on Facebook, which has been a while since I ever had to do that. But you can report people, if they're being that kind of toxic, person, and then they'll handle it from higher up. They'll look at what's going on and they'll fix it, and then the thing about Facebook is if Facebook bans you or whatever, they ban all your accounts. That's across Instagram, that's across WhatsApp, that's across Facebook. You lose all them accounts. So if the person is that bad and you report them and they look at it and say, yes, this person is, and they block them, man, they're done for on all those platforms. So that's the one good thing about that. But, it's harder to do gaming content on Facebook because they don't really give the support as they used to. But I did like the aspect of that they will They will drop all their accounts basically. So, and then that's tied to I think your phone number and stuff, right? Because you need your phone number or your email and all that. So it will catch all the accounts. So if they're really being that type of a troll, it can be stopped easier on there. Now YouTube, I don't know if you can just how to report them, but I know you can ban them from your page, and the comments just won't show up. Now if you're doing Rumble and what is the other new one? Kick. If you're doing those, I don't know how it works on those platforms because I'm new to Rumble, which I had just launched not too long ago. I started it up like going and putting more content on there, but I haven't messed around with Kick. So, and I haven't really had to do anything on Twitch because I don't get that many views on Twitch. So. But, yeah, this was important to talk about, There's so many people that are trying to make content. Then you get these, I want to say buttholes, but I really want to say, you know what I want to say. Come into your channel and be that kind of way, or just, they're either just a troll or they're just a terrible person. I don't know what else to say about it, yeah. But to me, it was an important thought in my head that, it would cause him to not, and this is like, I want to say the second time this has happened. Every time he tries to get a channel going or something, you get these toxic people that come in and just want to tear you down. It's just terrible, The online community, and for people to think that that's okay, they obviously have issues going on in their life. So like I said, to me, it's the easiest solution is to just get them out of there, just ban them from the page, This is why it's important to have good moderators, right? I don't have good moderators yet because I don't have any really. I moderate my own stuff right now. Having good moderators to go through and just remove those people for you so you don't have to deal with it can take a lot of stress off of your mind, And at some point, when you get to a point where you have a lot of people, a lot of traffic, it's probably best to have someone help you moderate. And I would recommend a family member or someone you can really trust, Or you have to be able to comb through these comments and remove the people yourself without thinking twice about it, That's what you have to do. You're going to get trolls, right? All streamers get trolls. It's just how you can handle it without letting it tear you down mentally, right? You got to be able to do it without being torn down mentally. To make you want to stop making your content, that's terrible. If it's eating you up that bad, and you might have to step back, take a minute, take a breather, come back at it when you got your head together. But any threatening comment, you can report that for sure on any platform, and they will put, that into action by the law, the law enforcement, right? Because if someone's threatening you or your family, then that is a serious problem, and that would be handled, appropriately by the authorities, right? Yeah. So just knowing those things, to me, the easiest way is to remove the people. Once you see that that's a toxic person, just get them out of there, man. And if you have moderators, make sure that they're doing their job. It's important. If you're going to have moderators, they got to be in there doing their job, right? And it has to be someone that is trustworthy to moderate your content. It has to be. You can't just pick any old body to be a moderator. They have to be trustworthy. That's important too. You can't just pick some random person. You got to make sure that they're going to be trustworthy to go in on your stream or whatever it is you're doing and remove the people that are being that toxic. So lessons learned. Hopefully, I seen that my friend, he's starting to put some of his gaming content back up, which is great. I like to see the shift. I think he's probably starting to realize that can't let them people tear him down, and that's great, because it's sad when someone is working hard to make good content and then you got people that just come in and are just terrible like that, try to tear you down. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I hope some people are hearing this and thinking about their moderators, thinking about how they handle the situation, because these are things, as a content creator, you have to think about. How am I going to handle the toxic people? Because they're going to come. It's always going to be someone that's going to be trolling or toxic or whatever, and you're going to have to learn to deal with them. And how you deal with them is important. To not put yourself in a bad light. You always, just remove them, man. Get them out of there. Don't argue back and forth with them. There's no point in arguing back and forth with them, because they're trolling. They're upset with something in their life that they can't, they have to take it out on you. Don't let them take it out on you. Just get them out of there. It's no point. You go ahead and you explain if they didn't understand what you were saying, you explain it to them. If they continue on after that, you get them out of there. I believe in giving people a chance, but if they just come out the gate and they're rude, disrespectful, toxic, you get them out of there, man. Just don't deal with it. It's the best way to handle it for me. I don't know how everybody else is handling it, but that's how I will handle it. I'll just get them out of there. There's no point. If it takes me a second to stop my gaming, stop my talking to my community, and just kick them out of there, that's what I'll do, or if they're coming across on my videos, and just ban them out of there, That's the best way to do it. Get them out of there. And this was all, all because of what happened to my friend online. So that's why I wanted to talk about this. You got to remember too, for the most part, you're talking to a person. So if you're on that side of the fence and you got something, you're unhappy with the content or whatever, you got to remember you're talking to a person. You're looking at a person, you're talking to a person, So if you're on the other side of the fence and you're listening to this, you need to remember that you have to be respectful. You cannot just talk to people however you want because you say, oh, I got free speech. Well, free speech is a misconception, because if you was to say something wrong to someone, you're liable to get punched in the mouth. If you're saying something face to face with somebody and you're that kind of rude online, you say that in real life, what you think will happen? What you think would happen? More than likely, if it was your mom, they would have smacked you in the mouth. So think about that. If it's something that you wouldn't say to your dad in his face, think about what you're saying to somebody, because more than likely, if it was something that would get you smacked in the mouth, you're wrong. You're wrong. Think about it in them terms. If you're talking to someone online, think about it as because you're talking to a person. You got to understand that you can't. There is free speech. There is, But there's a consequence for actions too. There's a consequence for hitting someone. Yes. There's a consequence for speaking out of the mouth wrong. There's consequences, man. Consequences in life. Understand that if you're on that other side of the fence, you can't just talk to people any kind of way you want just because you think you got free speech. That doesn't mean that you can say whatever you want. It doesn't. And if you think so, just try it. Go out in public and try it if you think that and see what happens to you, And then when you got the swollen eye because you said something wrong to somebody and you wanting to sue them because, you caused the incident, or something like that, you are wrong. You were wrong then, you're wrong online. You need to think about that. That's not something that you should be doing. You should not be talking to people crazy, like you out of your mind. If you wouldn't say it to your mom or dad, you think you should be saying it to someone online? Is that kosher? Is that good? No, it's not good. It's not good at all. It's not good. If you don't like the content, there's ways of talking to someone without being that disrespectful is what I'm getting at. Because bad things would happen to me if I was to go up to somebody and just, be blatantly disrespectful to them in their face, Then you end up into an altercation or a fight, with someone, because that is not the right way to talk to people. You're talking to people. It's a social interaction. It's a public social interaction at that, No one right from wrong. Everybody knows right from wrong. Some people choose to be wrong, but you're hiding behind anonymity. You see what I'm saying? You're hiding behind anonymity. So the best thing to do is what I always recommend is not to engage with these toxic people. Ban them from your site. If they choose to come and, altercate with you, there's the law enforcement, and that will be that, If they're threatening, you just report them, I think this is important for people to talk about and think about because this stuff happens, man. And usually I just ban them, If they come in and they're being toxic, I'm going to ban you. I'm just letting you know. You're going to be out of there in the blink of an eye because as soon as I can get it, it don't matter. I had a guy say, he doesn't know how to ban it. I just didn't have the page up so I could ban him. But I banned him. He was out of there. It doesn't take long. He or she. It could have been a female. Could have been a male. I don't know who that person is. You don't never know who they are. But they were banned. I know that. Don't deal with that type of stuff. There's no need to deal with that type of stuff. Well, that's all I wanted to say on that. I think we can move on to the joy of gaming, y'all. Let's talk about a lighter note. I really like Assassin's Creed Shadows, but I just, it's not the kind of content that to play, I think, on live stream. So I had decided to stop that series just because, I think I'm more of an action kind of game guy. So I need constant action. And I think that's what drives, more people. They want to see you engaging in more engaging games. That game is a little bit more slower paced and it's long. So holding people's attention on that game is going to be tough, I like the game. I'm going to try to beat it still. I'm just going to take a break from it and get back into some shooter action because the shooter action is fun. You're engaging, you're into it, you're having a good time. You're trying to get a win in most of the battle royales or shooter games. So it's a little more entertaining for gaming online or streaming. So that's why I'm going back to that. I think Doom, the Dark Ages, may be more engaging because that one, it's not going to be a whole lot of dialogue. It's going to be like you're shooting. Just like I felt like playing through Halo was engaging because you're engaging in combat. Every time you turn a corner, you're fighting some kind of monster. Those type of games, I think, are better for gaming when you're streaming. As a streamer, let's get it correct. As a streamer, I think those are a bit more engaging. When you're trying to play these long go-through games, you don't really hold the community. I mean, you may be able to if you maybe have a lot of following and that's what they want to watch, and maybe that's the type of content they watch from you all the time, then it's probably good for your channel. For my channel, I don't think it's so good because it takes me a long time to get through these games because I don't play them that often. So I like the Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's a fun game, but we're going to take a break from it. So we're going to be rotating some shooter games. Since Fortnite has a Star Wars thing going on, I was thinking I would try to get maybe an hour in today before I pick up my kids after this podcast because I can't stream tomorrow. Got an appointment Wednesday. I should be able to get another Fortnite in. I think we'll do Fortnite all week. And that'll give me 2 days of gaming. I won't be able to do Thursday because there's another appointment that I have to go to. So Friday we'll get the art video in, and that will lead us into. Let's go. That's my notes. Yeah, that will lead us back into our art work. Okay, so I've been trying to stay with relevant stuff. Thunderbolts came out, so last Friday we did a little Thunderbolt character drawing, which was I can't think now. My brain kind of froze up. Sorry, it was Sentry. Sorry, it was Sentry. We drew Sentry from the Marvel comics, since he's like the bad guy in that movie. I haven't seen it yet. I definitely want to see that movie. It looks great. I can't wait to see it, but it's going to be tough because when you got kids, you can't always go see more adult films. You have to wait until you can get a sitter, or you have an opportunity to go see it without them, right? Which is tough. So it's either I'm going to watch it when it comes on Disney, or I'll find a way to sneak away and go see it. Which is challenging, it's challenging. So for this Friday, I don't really have a planned out drawing, which I gotta come up with something. And I always do this call to action, or I ask you guys, if you're engaging in the content, to leave a note on what you think I should draw for Friday. If not, I'll just come up with something, which I've been doing pretty good at coming up with ideas to just sketch in the sketchbook. Still doing sketches in the sketchbook. For Christmas this year, I'm going to get me a nice camera, and we're going to be able to do some art videos like we used to. And that will be fun. So set up the easel. We'll do all that next year. Got to get me the fancy camera first. So we're going to be saving up from here till the end of the year. We'll get that fancy camera. I was looking at that Black Magic camera. I want it to be like high quality video footage when we actually do our artwork. As of right now, I've just been using my phone, and we have been drawing in our sketchbook. That's the easy setup, what I can do right now. And then we will progress next year into doing a little bit more high quality videos and stuff. So I think that's going to be great. I can't wait for that because I love doing artwork, y'all. Always have and always will. Art and gaming. That's why my channel is art and gaming, because, Art with Errol, I do artwork and I love gaming. Am I the best at gaming? No, definitely not the best. But I enjoy it, and I like sharing that content with you guys. I like sharing that time with you guys. So if you want to participate, please be respectful, or you get banned. That's a perfect way to say it. Everything we've been talking about leads up to that. We're going to game stream. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to have fun with it. But be respectful, yo. That's what this whole video has been about. Be respectful. Remember you're talking to a person. Remember that when you see someone online, you're talking to a person. I think that's the thing. People are, if they are real people, because in some cases I think they're bots, but if they are real people being toxic, they just need to learn to be respectful, man. I enjoy doing the podcast, y'all. Even though I don't get like a lot of viewers or participation, the reason I'm doing the spaces audio is because I'm trying to have a means of communication with hopefully the audience at some point. That's tough because toxic people can come into your spaces, and the moment they say something wrong, then it'll shut that whole thing down. You won't do that ever again, So I'm trying to set up ways to communicate and engage with the audience. And I want to be able to have a nice community, but like I said, the toxic people online makes it to where you can't be open, because there's toxic people out there that just want to ruin people's day or ruin their experience or whatever. Anytime someone's doing something good, anytime somebody's trying to progress or make something, great or whatever, there's always that one bad apple to ruin it for everybody, man. To my friend who is bringing his channel, seemed like he was bringing it back online. I really hope that you don't let these people affect you like that, because he's really a good dude, and I think people sometimes miss the point that he be trying to say. It just goes over their head, Maybe breaking things down in layman's terms to people is, the way to do it, but I don't know. Got my own content that I have to worry about too, so can only be so helpful to people, right? But yeah, this has been a good time. Appreciate your time. If you listen to this podcast all the way through, don't forget to follow Art with Errol all across social media. We got the 3 YouTube channels. We got Art with Errol. We got Art with Errol Gaming and the Art with Errol Podcast. And this is great, man. So I'm enjoying this, and I keep coming up with topics on the whim, but I think there's always something going to pop up that you can think about to talk about when it comes to content creation, artwork, or gaming. Which I haven't been to any art events in a while, man. I really enjoyed when I was in New York. I really enjoyed going to the MoMA. I went to a bunch of art exhibit places. I used to like that. That was fun, man. Seeing the real artists who painted all those famous paintings and stuff, like Starry Night and all that stuff. Seeing that stuff in person was really cool, and I really enjoy seeing like the sculptures and the exhibits, and that some people did like these movie artwork stuff, which was interesting. A a lot of cool stuff with that, man. Maybe one day I can do like a full series and maybe get an exhibit. That would be nice, right? I think when I get that really fancy camera, y'all, I'm going to try to do bigger art pieces and, get really creative and do something. I think that's my goal for next year, is to try and do something, my own, not really drawing from things or ideas from things, and, just get real creative and do something that hopefully I can set up an exhibit with. So I'm gonna have to take my time with it. So the art videos may be slower next year because I won't do these 1 hour drawings or whatever. We're gonna do like a much longer full art piece, and make a video. I think that's what I'm going to do, so that hopefully I can set up an exhibit somewhere and have people come out and look at the paintings, and if they want to buy them or whatever. I think that's what I would like to do for next year. So, but I really want to get the fancy camera before we start with that, so I can set up and really, really do some artwork, instead of these they're just like little sketches, that's all we're doing is little sketches. So, that's all I got, y'all, for today. I went a little long. I rambled. I get into a rambling moment and I just go with it, y'all. I gotta be better at staying on task, topic, whatever. But yeah. So till next time, you know what to do. I'm out of here, y'all.